If you refer to the last 5 years as the year of e-commerce boom in Nigeria, then you won't totally be wrong. It's been a massive business for those who have been doing it so far. But the question is, will these e-commerce companies really contribute meaningfully to the economic development of our dear nation, Nigeria? With me is Afam Anyika. Afam is one of the co-founders of Udala.com, which is a new player in this industry. Afam, welcome to Tech Trend.
Thank you, CFE. Always a pleasure to be here.
E-commerce companies in Nigeria, can they really add to economic development?
So I think first is yes, and my only answer is yes. And I mean, the nation's GDP year over year has been able to tell so. And if you look at the advent of e-commerce into the market in Nigeria, it has in many ways created opportunities, not just for our government, but for individuals, and it has been able to scale and grow the small and medium scale enterprise industry. So by far, and like you would understand, it's about the biggest growing segment of the country's economy.
But I don't share your optimism. Okay. And basically the reason is that for each of these e-commerce companies that come up, how many small businesses do we lose? How many shops get closed? I need you to let me in on that.
So for me, what I rather see is opportunities. Reasons being that the internet has given us a platform where we can be innovative, and it is the future. The numbers say it all. I mean, we have about 50.6 million internet users. We have another 80 million subscribed to the internet. And in general, we have 140 million Nigerians who are subscribed to whatever network of your choice. I mean, it's just to say this is the future. So rather than think that this is actually destroying that market, I would actually say, and I mean government is doing these things. There are all sorts of hubs everywhere that are providing this kind of education. I would actually say what we need is an education of these people where they could actually come up to speed with what the future is. Because either or, at some point in the future, they would become obsolete. So it's only one thing. It's only one thing. You need to move with the trends. And don't forget, it's also taking your product or your service to a wider market. You could be on the street and you could still meet 2,000 people, but you could go online and meet 140 million Nigerians. So either or, the advantages are there, the opportunities are there. So I think rather than stay on the side where you think it's destroying, I would actually say we actually embrace the education of this beautiful world of e-commerce that's come to us and how we could
okay, let's look at job creation.
Yes.
Can you say for sure that e-commerce is really creating jobs?
Beyond measure, yes. And I say this because I've been in the e-commerce industry for a while, and even with where I work presently, what we see is that we are having a little bit more specialized skill that didn't exist before now. So I mean, I take for instance a graphic artist. It was one of those things to be a graphic artist to do stuff, but now we have even more specialized ways of doing graphics. Because with e-commerce, it's beyond just being able to put a good image, it's being able to sell that image. So I mean, this has been able to take, has given a lot of young Nigerians opportunities with creative minds, and that's just one side. And then we have people who are responsible for going and bringing these things into our stores to be able to offer customers. We have to scale up our customer service because we are seeing that we are receiving calls of close to tens of thousands in a day. We have to scale up logistics, pick up a lot of guys from the streets, I have to say, give them motorbikes, and they are able to deliver these things to our customers nationwide. We are having to open stores. I mean, it's boundless. And even for the guys who we take their stuff and bring to the website, I mean, it's only, even on their end, it only helps them scale up their operations, because they could remain as company ABC, keep on selling to the same audience XY, and it remains like that. Maybe they just add one person year on year. But e-commerce, a larger platform, more sales, and then obviously, I mean, just more jobs. We need more people to do stuff. Like here where I work, there's need for increased capacity, because day on day, we see an increase in the number of people who visit our stores or our websites, and we need the capacity to support. And offer the customer experience we've given to people.
Is the e-commerce sector regulated today?
Well, I know the Ministry of ICT in particular, with the previous minister, had done things in place. So in terms of regulation, I know there are some things in the works, but I know there is an involvement. Okay, there's all sorts of hubs being set up across the country, and what do these hubs do? They take young Nigerians like you and I, who have great ideas, brush them up in certain skills, and then try to, offer them grants and ways they can, bring whatever they're offering to the Nigerian market out there. Not only is this gradually going to put Nigeria on the world map, but it's also going to create a new breed of entrepreneurs. We're seeing it happen across the world. I mean, you see it's not impossible to see a 14-year-old who's going to be a billionaire tomorrow, for instance. And then that's on one side. But in terms of policy, there is the National ICT Policy, for instance. There is the broadband plan also. But these are all policies geared at improving infrastructure, which, of course, is very necessary and is a big challenge of the e-commerce industry today. So I would say, yes, there is a lot of...
Because you wake up every day and you see different types and shades of e-commerce platforms.
That's the beauty of e-commerce.
So it should be allowed.
As far as I'm concerned, people always need stuff. They always want a lot of things they need as much. So human wants are insatiable, for instance. We would always need stuff. You would always need a shirt. You would always need to eat. You would always need to buy a phone. And I mean, there are people, and as we get busier, we also even see, there are e-commerce portals that sell services like nannies, for instance. And the needs are, it's just so much. And to be honest, is that people are looking for these things. And what e-commerce actually does is that it actually gives you, and of course, this goes back to the look and feel and the customer experience on whatever platform you're operating. It actually gives you, the operator of such a platform, that what I call it authenticity, that originality to the customer. That customer really wants to engage with you. It's just about the look and feel, and of course, all the customer experience you promise.
If there are so many e-commerce sites springing up, then it means that there is need for some sort of differentiation.
Exactly.
In your case, what do you think makes you different, since you are also a very new player in the market? So
I think, first of all and overall, is passion. Passion, of course, a lot of people could say that, but it's on different platforms. It's actually passion in the fact that there is a need for the customer. Now, here's what I say. We've realized that yes, there are online, there are retail platforms everywhere. There are all e-commerce firms everywhere. But we actually decided to adopt a composite structure, which is a combination of offline and online channels. Now, why did we do this necessarily? It's easy for us to go online. We reach a broader reach of Nigerians. But the idea for this is Nigeria always also remains an offline market. As much as there are online channels, I'm sure you want to go out with your friends or your family to the stores to see what is there. So that was one of those strategies. But overall is to be able to differentiate ourselves in terms of customer deliveries, in delivery or fulfillment to our customers. Yes, e-commerce firms have, some tell you 72 to 72 hours, they end up spending 1 week. But with that composite structure, we are able to say that you can get your deliveries in 24 hours. It's very simple because whatever you order on our website are found in the stores wherever you're located in the country, and it doesn't take me 24 hours to get to wherever you are, wherever city you are. So for us, that's really the key differentiator in terms of, and there's a lot I could go on about. It could be the partnerships with our brands and OEMs. It could be the unique and exclusive launch products we're bringing into the market. We've just scratched the surface, really. There's just a lot more that is coming to the Nigerian market. And in terms of entrepreneurship, I could go on and on, but as time goes on, we would let a lot of stuff out of the bag. One thing that pleases me is the fact that the Nigerian public is the greatest benefactor because they now have choices, so it's all good for the market. But since you've been in this industry for quite a while, I know first with Jumia and now Udala, what are the value chain that businesses or young graduates are overlooking that they can plug into and get themselves engaged and employed? Okay, in terms of that, I would say the first thing and the most easy thing is actually opening your mind to the world around you. There's a lot of innovation happening out there, and I mean, in this world, like I said earlier, it's not hard to find a 15-year-old who's a billionaire already. So it's first of all being able to open up your mind to the world around you. Actually understand that there is always a need, and that the internet has given us a tool or an access where we could reach a broader range of people. Second is, within the e-commerce sphere, there is all sorts of specialization going on. I gave reference to the graphic artist, for instance, which is the most easy example. There's all sorts of creativity. There's all sorts of interest, if you will. So it's a broader range, but like I said, irrespective of what skill you have, it's just being able to open your mind to receive what the world out there is saying, and adapting it, and overall, and that's the key for any market, satisfying the needs of somebody, even if it's one person. But that also scales up. Those are the ways you plug in. It's just being able to satisfy a need, add more value, and of course, by far, of course, being an entrepreneur and contributing to the world around you, your environment around you, the nation's GDP, as the case may be.
Where do you see Nigeria's tech industry in the next 5 years?
So this is a very interesting question. So the way I always refer to it is, there was a time when it was teaching. For instance, in the days of my father, I mean, teaching must have been the hottest profession. And then I grew into the time it was banking, and it became telecommunications. So my simple answer is, no, oil and gas is a constant, but it would be unfair to compare them to oil and gas. But yes, oil and gas being the constant, but where do I see e-commerce? It is the next booming industry. It is the industry that would spring a lot of surprises for many years to come. And it may be too early to speak, but I don't see any other industry doing this. The e-commerce industry actually allows you to do things out of the ordinary. With banking, it's really one way. It's about, keeping the customer's money, investing, and all things like that. And telecommunications, the same thing. Of course, there will be innovation in service. But with e-commerce, you would always see one, permits me to use the word, crazy idea every now and then. You would always see one crazy entrepreneur. You would see people who would surprise you with with the feats they've achieved. So I think it is the future, basically. And I mean, we're seeing the internet going in that direction. And as long as these numbers continue to increase every year, year on year, I mean, there's no stopping it.
Afam, thank you so much for coming on Tech Trends today.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Yes, thank you very much.
Emeka sent in this question asking if new technology innovations can be discussed on Tech Trends for free. My answer to this question would be a yes and a no, because it all depends on the innovation. I would like to encourage Emeka and all other innovators out there to feel free to send an email to techtrends@channeltv.com. But remember, there is no free publicity anywhere, if you know what I mean. The second statement isn't a question, rather it is a feedback, and it was sent in by @soulmatedanny via Twitter. And it says, I love your program, it's really educative, and thank you for the Wikipedia info, it is worth watching. Thank you for your kind words, Daniel, we appreciate you so much. Please keep those questions and feedback coming, either email or social media, and we'll take them as time permits. I'd like to end today's edition of Tech Trends with a quote by Carlos Slim Hilu, the billionaire media magnate. And he says, I think one of the big errors people are making right now is thinking that old-style businesses will be obsolete, when actually they'll be an important part of this new civilization. Some retail groups are introducing e-commerce and think that the bricks are no longer useful, but they will continue to be important. What do you think about this quote? Remember, you can watch this edition and other editions of the show on the channel's YouTube page or via my blog. My name is Chukwuemeka Abata. Stay innovative.